Ooh, welcome everyone to the Daily Juice Podcast on the Betting Pros Network. I'm your host, Sean, stacking the money green, and as always, the Daily Juice is being brought to you by BetMGM. Use the promo code JUICE150 and you got yourself a $1,000 risk-free bet. All right, hey, here we go. 2-0 ATS. Let's go. 2-0, 1.9 units of profit, all on some preseason football. Hey, if preseason football is meaningless, the money is just as good. Let's get real. That was fun. I mean, Houston wasn't a sweat at all, and then Chiefs got to be a little bit of a sweat there. I think my only regret, on the card yesterday was not putting the Orioles in. I came up with the flow chart. Are the Orioles home dogs? You should bet on the Orioles. They pull it out in 11 innings, so I don't know what I was thinking. I got to go back to the tape and, chide myself for not getting on the Orioles as well, but can't complain on an undefeated night. Kansas City 17-10. Again, they seem to be up a little bit for Len Dawson. My takes on Jordan Love struggling seem to proved accurate in this game. He threw a pick there. Yeah, he didn't look horrible, but only 10 points. Green Bay almost tied it up late. It was pretty ugly game. They had the ball. They had a chance. They were driving there. They had a chance to tie it up. I would assume they would go for two, so it would have probably came down to the 2-point conversion, but ultimately they got stopped on fourth down. Chiefs got the win. I had them on the money line plus 100, so that's nice. Great little start there. And then the Houston Texans, 17-0. Was considering putting them on the money line, but again, I'm not going to complain about a victory. It almost sounded like I was going to complain about winning there, but I didn't. I like this Texans team, man. I really, really do. I think, again, we'll get to NFL Week 1, and maybe I'll throw out a little future on the Houston Texans, but and it could just be their young team with a new head coach that's bringing some fire, and that's really showing up in preseason. I think it's easy to fall for that stuff, but the expectations are so low for this Houston Texans team. I think Davis Mills looks good, and if you give Davis Mills that running game with Dameon Pierce, who played and of course ran hard, got a touchdown, who looks great. I mean, again, I'm not gonna pat myself on the back too much, but if you listen to my other show, Sports Gambling Podcast, did a bunch of best ball drafts and was all over Dameon Pierce super late. I predicted he would have the starting job, and now it's all but locked up for Dameon Pierce. That looks like a steal right there, and I think this Texans team, with Lovie Smith coaching up the defense, they could be interesting. I liked what I've seen from the Texans. Again, preseason, you got to take it with a grain of salt, but I just don't think they're going to be the bottom 4, bottom 5 team that everyone else has them made out to be. And in this game in particular, I was not impressed with Trey Lance. I'm not a Trey Lance believer. I would probably be described as a Trey Lance hater just because the insane hype this guy is getting. Like he's barely thrown a football. Like the last time he played competitive football was 2019, and even that was at the FCS level. And then people are like, "Oh, he's a sneaky guy to win the MVP." Like, what are you basing that on? I just. He had that nice ball in that early preseason game, but I don't know. It's tough to tell. Again, preseason, don't want to make too many hot takes, but I'm just not buying Trey Lance. And if I was the San Francisco 49ers, I would have used all that draft capital to just build around Jimmy G. I mean, Jimmy G had a lead in the Super Bowl, and I get it. Jimmy G's no Patrick Mahomes. He's no Josh Allen. He's no Justin Herbert. But, I mean, he has a lot of playoff wins, and the guy wins games. And if you just kept building around him, you really could have extended his window. I think there's a world maybe where Trey Lance ends up being really good, but that's going to take a few years. You have a win-now team. I think this just could go really, really bad for the San Francisco 49ers, who are 7-point road favorites week 1. Stay tuned for where I may lean in NFL Week 1. All right, we got some free giveaways. Of course, get in for the Vince Papali jersey. That's right. All you got to do is leave a review over on Apple Podcasts or CastBox, and then take that review and head over to bettingpros.com/Papali. That's Papale, bettingpros.com/Papali. Get a chance to win an autographed jersey from Pristine Auction. That thing is fire. I'm looking forward to giving that away. And again, you don't have to be an Eagles fan to appreciate Vince Papali. I mean, he literally, They always say this guy off the street, but Vince Papali literally was a guy off the street. He was just wandering around the streets of Philadelphia. Next thing you know, he's playing professional football. Not quite, but legendary story there. So shout out to the great one, Vince Papali. And hey guys, how about a free NFL Survivor contest? You going head to head with the other Daily Juice listeners, trying to squeeze out a victory. We're giving away a bunch of prizes, some pretty sweet gift cards to Fanatics, 150 to first, 100 to second, 50 to third. And again, this is completely free. NFL Survivor. All you got to do is go to play.runyourpool.com/juice. That's play.runyourpool.com/juice. You're going to go head to head with your fellow juicers, outlast the competition. NFL Survivor is really fun. And I've been thinking about my NFL Survivor picks for week one. I'm kind of leaning Carolina Panthers. You know, it's that balance of finding a team, obviously, that's going to win, but you don't want to burn a team, too soon. You want to give yourself some options. And I did an exercise where I walked through the entire NFL Survivor and mapped it out. It was a lot of fun, but yeah, I kind of like Carolina Panthers week one. Gives you a lot more options down the road. I mean, it's interesting, especially for NFL week one Survivor, because the teams that have the big spreads are road favorites, and even some road favorites in division spots, a la the Indianapolis Colts, who are laying 9 points at the Houston Texans. The Colts have lost 8 opening day games in a row. So buyer beware there. I wouldn't be surprised. There's a couple of these home dogs come through, and in the Survivor pool ends up looking pretty crazy come week 2. But hey, get in ours and go head to head against the competition. All right. Going back to preseason football. Let's go, baby. Seahawks at Cowboys. I'm doing it. Is the only time you'll see me pick the Cowboys this preseason.
That is a disgusting act.
I'm sorry, Joe Buck. I'm taking the Cowboys +7. You can get that over on win. And shout out again, if you guys got on the win totals are moving off the Tyron Smith injury news. I gave it out on the show at 10.5 -135. Over at Win, it's all the way down to -150. So still decent opportunity if you are wanting to get it on the under. Get it while it's hot. If you're a Cowboys believer, you could probably wait and take it the other way, because I think it's going to keep going down as people realize the impact of losing their left tackle. I think the Seahawks are going to try in this game. I think that's why the spread is -7 Seattle. But Geno Smith on the road, Drew Lock, who missed a bunch of time for COVID. The Dallas quarterbacks didn't look horrible. Will Grier, he played the majority of the game, looked pretty solid, honestly. And, Ben DiNucci, if he plays, hopefully he doesn't play a ton, because that's going to probably kill the +7. But Seattle is 0-2 in preseason games. They're coming off a game where they put up 11 points. I just don't get where they're going to light up this Cowboys team. And the Cowboys, to their credit, did have a punt return, a kickoff return. I don't think they're going to bring that back, but I do like taking teams with good special teams. So maybe they don't have a punt return for a touchdown, kick return for a touchdown. They could end up getting a short field, and I like taking teams with good special teams, and I think this Cowboys team qualifies. Plus, they're a +7 home dog. You look at Seattle's offense. You got Geno Smith. Okay, I obviously like DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. We'll see how much those guys play. I can't imagine you could play them a ton. They're going to want to try and play Drew Lock a bunch. But again, I just don't – he didn't play the other preseason games, missed some time from COVID. I can imagine him being pretty rusty. And Seattle, a.k.a. Pete Carroll, they're like a run-heavy team. I think that's what they're going for with their offense. That's why they drafted Ken Walker, who now is dealing with that hernia. He's obviously not playing. And then Rashad Penny just tested positive for COVID-19. Again, you're missing your top 2 running backs. I think that could get pretty wonky. I just don't see a world where they're covering 7 points on the road. So give me the Cowboys, as hard as that is, as a home dog. Chargers, +3 at the Saints. You can get that over on DraftKings. Saints are 0-2 in the preseason. Haven't seen much from the Saints team so far in preseason. Jameis Winston did something with his foot there. Should be good to go week 1, but they're just not going to put him out there. I couldn't imagine. He's starting to work up his way, 7-on-7s. He should be good to go week 1, but I don't expect to see him here. Even Andy Dalton, they seem to be a little cautious with. Saints are 0-5 against the spread in the last 5 preseason games. I mean, I saw Ian Book, a lot of Ian Book. I unfortunately had the Saints last week, and man, now I am just completely sold on the idea of fading Ian Book. The Chargers, they lost to the Cowboys mostly because of that kick and punt return for touchdowns I just mentioned. Now, I know what you're saying, Sean. You're taking a team with maybe bad special teams here. I don't think they're good, but I don't imagine having that happen again as far as the return touchdowns. Those are a bit of an outlier, and I would imagine they're going to be chewed out the entire week. The Saints lost to Green Bay because they had Ian Book. If Andy Dalton plays a ton, maybe this is where we get in trouble and we get screwed, but I just can't imagine they're going to risk putting Andy Dalton out there. Like, he's an old veteran. You know what you got in Andy Dalton. He played, I think, 1 series in the first preseason game. He looks sharp. I think that's all you need. And with Jameis not being a lock for week 1, I don't think you can risk putting Andy Dalton out there. Meanwhile, on the Chargers side, I would be shocked if we see Justin Herbert. We don't need to see Justin Herbert. He's awesome. Easton Stick actually looked pretty good. I loved his aggressiveness. Did throw a pick, but the kid had a cannon. And then Chase Daniel, who was just stolen so much money from the NFL as a backup quarterback, literally doing not much and making a ton of cash. But he's a preseason Hall of Famer, like just a guy who's going to check down, give you some easy completions, high completion percentage, keep the chains moving, and not put up a ton of points, but enough. And they're getting 3 points. So give me the Chargers there, +3. Last but not least, give me the Buffalo Bills, +220 on the money line. I just played a little dog sound effect, and probably a fun time to do a little contest, bettingpros.com/chat. If you know where that dog sound effect comes from, first one to correctly guess it in the chat, I will toss you a Daily Juice hat, courtesy of management. So one more time. I mean, come on. Maybe it's an age thing, but if you don't know this, this one's an easy one, so you guys should get this. I don't want to say this too loud, but the Bills could be, I'm almost should be whispering this. The Bills could be the next Baltimore Ravens when it comes to preseason games. They've won 10 preseason games in a row. They put up 42 points against the Denver Broncos, and they have really good quarterback depth with Matt Barkley and Case Keenum. Again, is Matt Barkley and Case Keenum good? No, not necessarily, but the guys have seen a decent amount of action. I mean, Case Keenum was in the NFC Championship game. Like, the guy has seen a bunch of live action, and the Bills just keep winning these preseason games. They have a ton of depth. Again, that's why they're a Super Bowl contender, because of their depth. I would be surprised. I think they officially ruled Josh Allen out, but again, he only played 1 drive against the Broncos, and they got a touchdown, but they still put up 35 points without Josh Allen. So I think this Bills offense, they have a ton of depth, and I think they're going to continue to put up points against this Panthers team. Sean McDermott, former defensive coordinator, I don't know how much he brings to the table of still knowing what's the inside information on the Panthers. I don't know if they really need it. Now, Panthers, they only put up 10 against the New England Patriots defense. Again, Panthers their best offensive weapon is Christian McCaffrey. And I would be shocked if you see much of Christian McCaffrey. They've been babying him, rightly so, the entire preseason. So I just don't think the Panthers move the ball a ton and put up a ton of points. And I think the Bills are going to be alive in this game. I obviously like them on the spread as well at 6.5. But let's take a shot here at a nice +220 money line going into the weekend. Hey, speaking of the weekend, today, aka I was going to say tomorrow, but it always gets confusing. Today, Friday, 3 o'clock Pacific, 6 o'clock East, we'll be talking college football week 0, bettingpros.com/CFB. Get into the Discord there. You can ask questions. We'll talk picks, talk a little action there. And hey, as always, thank you for listening. Head over to BetMGM. Use our promo code JUICE150. Get the risk-free $1,000 bet. Follow us on TikTok @BettingPros. Follow me on Twitter @Sean T. Green. Check out my other show, Sports Gambling Podcast. And hey, toss us a nice rating and review. Again, I love reading positive reviews. And don't make me review your review. And as you know, subscribe, rate, and review. And as always, don't forget to let it ride.